before modern warfare had names for it, guerrilla tactics, psychological warfare, alliance politics, Queen Nzinga of Ndongo and Matamba was already using many of the principles that would later define them. In the early 1600s, Portuguese forces were pushing deeper into Central Africa, seeking territory, political influence, and captives for the growing Atlantic slave trade. Nzinga was born into this turbulent world around 1583 as the Kingdom of Ndongo faced increasing Portuguese pressure. She was the daughter of Ngola Kiluwanji, the ruler of Ndongo, and grew up surrounded by politics, warfare, diplomacy, and the struggle to preserve her kingdom's independence. From an early age, Nzinga was exposed to the realities of power. She learned how rival factions could be manipulated, how alliances could shift, and how diplomacy could be just as important as military strength. Her brother, Ngola Mbande, eventually became ruler of Ndongo, and Nzinga emerged as one of his most capable diplomats. In 1622, she was sent to negotiate with the Portuguese governor in Luanda. The meeting would become one of the most famous episodes associated with her rise to power.
I do not stand before any king.
When Portuguese officials provided only one chair for
speak as
themselves,
equals or not at all.
Nzinga refused to accept a position of inferiority. She understood that diplomacy was also a contest over power and perception, winning the mind before the battlefield. Nzinga did not believe that political alliances had to be permanent. They had to be useful. She negotiated with the Portuguese when diplomacy served her interests, but she also sought alliances with their European rivals, including the Dutch, when the balance of power shifted. She also built relationships with neighboring peoples and incorporated displaced populations and formerly enslaved people into her growing forces. Her strength came from her ability to adapt. She understood that against a larger and better equipped European power, she could not simply fight the Portuguese on their terms. So she changed the terms of the war. Guerrilla warfare. Before the textbooks, Nzinga's forces relied heavily on mobility and knowledge of the terrain. Rather than depending entirely on conventional battles, her forces used raids, ambushes, attacks on Portuguese positions, and the disruption of enemy supply lines. Nzinga also relocated political centers when necessary, refusing to allow the capture of a single city or capital to become the end of her resistance. The land became an ally, mobility became a weapon, and patience became a strategy. War as nation building. But Nzinga's greatest achievement was not simply surviving, it was building. She created a political and military base that could absorb people displaced by warfare and slavery. Her forces became a coalition of different peoples, soldiers, refugees, and former captives united by a common struggle. For Nzinga, resistance was not simply about defeating an enemy in battle. It was about creating something that could survive the enemy.